How's it going, everyone? And welcome once again to another episode of Animal Talk Podcast in collaboration with SAAMBR, the South African Animal Keepers Association. My name is Ryne. And for most of you, I'm sure you know, when we're actually recording this podcast, it's one day after Dolly Parton's death. And I would like to pay tribute to her on Animal Talk Podcast. So here's a short clip of her talking about the environment. Take a listen.
I hope for the environment, for all things living and all things good, just nature in general, that we should pay more attention to how we're treating our mountains, how we're treating our world, how we're just treating everything. We're just mistreating Mother Nature. That's like being ugly to your mama. You know, that's like being disrespectful, seriously. So I really think we all need to pay closer attention to taking better care of the things that God gave us freely and that we're so freely messing up. We need to rethink that and do better.
We need to do better, that's for sure. Now, good old Dolly, what an icon, what a legend. And as I'm sure you all know, Animal Talk Podcast has a country song that plays in our beginning theme. Rest now, Dolly, and yeah, we definitely enjoy your music and will continue to. I think I've listened to 9 to 5 way too much over the last 2 days. But speaking about 9 to 5, I have two amazing guests joining me. And just so that you all know, I'm sure you've already noticed, I do not have my co-host with me. But my co-host is a little bit busy at the moment. As I'm sure you all heard in about 2 episodes ago, he's just started a new job. And it's a supervisor of a department, so there's a lot of work to do, so he'll be joining us again real soon. But to my guests, I'm very excited to have them on the podcast. They're all the way from KwaZulu-Natal, from Durban, from SAAMBR, uShaka SeaWorld. It is Ume and Shané.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. How are you ladies doing?
Doing fantastic.
Well, thanks, and yourself?
I'm doing well, thanks. Thanks for putting out some time to join me on the podcast. It's very difficult. And like I said, you guys are pretty much still working. You're at work recording this podcast. So thank you for making the time to join us. We all have very busy schedules, especially working in our industry of animal care. And yeah, thanks again for joining.
It's an absolute pleasure. Glad to be here and be part of the community and helping everyone learn and grow.
Very excited to join you.
Awesome. And you are both SAAMBR members, which is exciting. So welcome. And before we get going, I always ask my guests a very important question. What is your favorite animal? We'll go with you, Ume.
So it's really torn between two animals, but if I had to pick one, I would go with penguin.
Aha.
African penguin to be specific.
Oh, nice. Shané?
Oh, I was just thinking the same thing with Ume. It was quite a difficult decision. But yeah, between all those that I've actually worked with, which is really cool, I'd have to say the Cape fur seal.
Ooh, and that's an animal you work with currently, correct?
Yes, that is currently the animal that I work with.
That's awesome. Okay, well, that now jumps straight into exactly what I was going to ask. So we'll start with you, Shané. Please tell us a little bit more about you, where you work, what you do, what animals you work with.
Well, so as Ryne introduced earlier, so I'm an animal care specialist here at uShaka Marine World, and I currently work with a group of Cape fur seals. They're super intelligent, really incredible to work with, and they definitely teach you life lessons every single day.
Nice. Yeah, I love watching the seals. No matter where I go on the coast, if I see seals, I'll just literally sit and watch them for ages, because if they're swimming, then it's cool to watch them. But if they're just lying there doing absolutely nothing, then I'm probably wasting my time. But otherwise, they're really cool to watch when they're moving around.
Yeah, they definitely have their own personalities.
Definitely. Ume, what about you?
So I've started my career as a volunteer. Back 15 years ago, I started at uShaka SeaWorld, and then I've been here for as many years. I currently work with the dolphins as well as our penguins. So yeah, between the two species, our bottlenose dolphins that we have and our African penguins, I've worked with them over my years. In my volunteering time, I did do some work with the seals, but that was many eons ago. My heart has settled on my feathered babies, and yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, it's so cool because I think a lot of us start our careers as volunteers and then we move up the ladder little bit by little bit. And I think that's one of the best ways to start out in the industry is to start volunteering, get a lot of information, get to work with different species, and then you can pretty much move up from there. And 15 years is a long time. So well done for sticking it out.
Wouldn't trade a minute of it.
That's amazing. That's awesome. So, the reason why we pretty much have you guys on the podcast is because it feels like it was only yesterday, but it's already over a week ago that I saw you both at the workshop that we just had, which was the Animal Cognitive Bias Workshop for Enrichment.
Okay, well, it was really cool experience on my part. A nice learning opportunity and some interesting ideas, meeting different people, working with different animals. Yeah, fun.
Well, for me, it was also an interesting experience, only because we got to work with like the cognitive bias with other animals, because we had already started doing some of those assessments on our seals in our seal group. So it was quite interesting to be able to do the assessments on other animals as well and to see the different responses that they gave.
Yeah, I guess for both of you being down at the coast, it's nice to work with some animals that are more inlandy animals rather than coastal animals.
Oh, yes, it's definitely different. I mean, I always thought that it was interesting to work with seals because they can come out on land and work and, be next to you. But yeah, inland animals, whole different ball game.
Yeah, that's definitely cool. So tell us a little bit about the two different species that you both worked with in the workshop and how that all went.
So on my side, I actually got to work with one of the caracals, Luca, and it was really interesting because from working with an animal who's completely submerged underwater more often, which is our dolphins, and then the penguins, which are very different socially to an animal that lives on its own, and looking at different ways to encourage him to explore within the new toys and different body parts of a cat compared to a bird or a dolphin is very different in the anatomy. So just seeing how you can use the different muscles and that there was really cool to see. Also the way that we can focus on different senses is one of the biggest things that I really enjoyed. Because sometimes when you're working with like marine mammals, you don't necessarily use smell as much or you don't use taste as much because dolphins don't have taste buds, so to speak, like your other land-based animals do. So that was really cool and interesting for me.
Definitely. Yeah, I do remember the enrichment that you guys put in for the curricle. It was really interesting to watch and see how the body, gets manipulated in a way to try and grab stuff. I really enjoyed watching that enrichment. So well done.
Thank you. It was a team effort.
So on my end, with my team, we were grouped up with the bat-eared foxes. And we were actually given 2 goals to work with them. So the first goal was to lengthen their foraging time, as well as to dampen sound that they experience within their enclosure. We learned quite a lot about them, especially on my side, not knowing much about them, that they're actually super sensitive to sound and they're super adorable with those giant ears. But yeah, we ended up having to come up with some unique ways to keep them engaged, to increase foraging, which we did by creating different challenges around the enclosure. But the most challenging part was to dampen sound. Because the enclosure was so open and wide, we ended up deciding to try and make little burrow areas for them so that they can move away from sound if they wanted to.
Yeah, that was very cool to watch. And also, just to let everybody know, it was working with 3 individuals. Ume had just the one curricle, but it's 3 bat-eared foxes. So there were 3 different individuals treating enrichment and treating the different things that you're putting in completely differently. So that was also really, really interesting to watch, which was so cool.
Yeah, it was actually quite interesting, especially because we had age difference between one and the 2 brothers, the one brother and sister set. So the way they engaged and the way they participated in the enrichment definitely taught me other things as well to keep in mind how each animal, even depending on their age and experience, how they would engage with different types of enrichment.
100%. Very, very cool. And definitely think the workshops are an amazing experience for anybody that's wanting to go to workshops and maybe second guessing, should I go, shouldn't I go? What would you guys say?
Well, from my side, I would definitely say it's always 100% worth going to any workshop. You never stop learning. There's always something new to learn. And being able to engage with all those that do join the workshops and to make connections with other keepers around from other facilities. You make really good friends, and those connections go so far, because down the line, when you need assistance or an idea with a new enrichment or device or with a behavior concern or anything in that kind of, in that sense, you have those people to reach out to and ask for advice and to share knowledge. So it's 100% worth it.
I totally agree with that there, because it's not just sharing knowledge, it's also broadening what you do know and applying it differently. Because sometimes you may see something on an everyday basis and you come so lax to what you're around or how you could implement it with your animals. But when you see it being used in a completely different aspect, it makes you think, how else can you use what you have to your disposal for the best of your animals, so you can make it more entertaining or more enriching for them, more challenging for you as well as a keeper to say, okay, these are the constraints I have. How can I make this the best for them so that they have more options and more availability to search, to play, to hunt, to whatever the object or the goal of your enrichment or your training for that term may be.
Yeah, so it's really, really, really exciting to be part of it, and you get to network with people. And if it's over a few days, you get to know those people and make new friends in the industry and new colleagues. I've spent a lot of time at workshops and conferences all over, both here in South Africa and in the US, and it has definitely been a really, really big benefit to my career. And I don't think that I would be doing, or I probably wouldn't be doing this podcast if it wasn't for my experiences that I had when I've gone to workshops and conferences. So if you are thinking about going and you're like, should I or shouldn't I? It's a 3 yes from us. But you guys were there, and we did something really cool because Shape Africa and Miro were there doing the workshop. But part of Shape Africa is that we have a enrichment ball called Val from Valerie Hare. And that ball moves around different facilities. And at our workshop, it moved to a new facility, and that's uShaka SeaWorld.
That is correct.
How did we do that? How did you end up with that ball?
Well, basically Val's journey started by being tossed across the room with a very cool handover from Robin at Laurie Park as an acceptance to uShaka Marine World. And basically she jumped on a plane with us and came down to Durban with a very interesting adventure on the way.
You have
I
to.
wouldn't say jump on the plane just
Yeah,
yet.
you have to tell us about that adventure, because I'm really interested in before the jumping on the plane.
So Val actually first took an Uber, then the Gautrain, which dropped us on the other side of the airport. So we had to get our way over to bookings so we could check in, which we made on time. And then when we got to the security gates to put your hand luggage and everything through, my bag got flagged because Val was inside the bag.
And before you carry on, Val, the ball, is a boomer ball. So it's a ball, an enrichment ball, all the way from the US, brought here many, many years ago. So it's a brown ball. I suppose it's kind of just a little bit smaller than a soccer ball, right?
Yeah, slightly smaller.
Yes.
Yeah. So just so our listeners can understand what Val looks like.
So she's a hard ball. And when it went through the security check-in, the lady was like, flag that bag. And she's like, is this your bag? I'm like, yes, ma'am, it is. She's like, I'm going to open it. I'm like, okay. She's like, she takes out the ball. She's like, what is this? And she tries to squeeze it because normally a ball would, like deflate. And she's like,
she thought it was a stress ball.
yeah. And then she tried to she put it on the table to like knock it with her knuckles, and she's like, this is very hard. I need to get security to come and check this out because I don't know what it is. I'm like, no, it's a toy. And then she was like, what type of toy is this? I'm like, no, it's a toy we use for animals because we don't want them to break it or anything, but it's a really cool ball. So she looked at me and she gave me such a side eye, and she's like, got to her radio, she's like, control, security, please come here. So I was like just waiting there, ambling, looking at her, and then she's like, is there anything else in your bag? I'm like, no. Behold, we had 2 carabiner clips for toys.
Giant ones.
Giant ones. And then so the security officer comes and she's like, oh, those are carabiners. And then she looks at Val and she's like, is that a ball? And I'm like, yes. She's like, oh, it's okay, never mind, carry on. So we waited for 10 minutes just
After
for them
all
to say,
that.
it's fine, just carry on.
That's crazy. What an experience for Val.
Might I add that 10 minutes was also the reason we ended up missing our flight.
Yes.
Of course. Of course. How else would we have had it? It would have been the exact way every time.
So for future reference, if anyone's taking Val, please check Val in.
Yeah, she needs to go under the plane and be checked
Yes.
in because, security
needs
is not too
sensitive
sure
care.
what she is. She's a little sensitive. That's amazing. Okay, so Val got on the plane safely eventually in the second flight.
Yes.
Yes, on the second flight.
Yeah, how did we go from there?
Val came home with me and came to the dolphinarium. At the dolphinarium on the Friday, the dolphins got to see Val. Being a little small, it's not something we would naturally give them to play with because it's something they could possibly swallow. So what we would do is we do have bigger versions of Val that they do play with. So we would take this one and we'd roll it along the windows and they would follow because we do enrichment through the windows so they can see it. And then I got some really cool photos with the animals following the ball, which I've sent through to Robin and Chef Africa as well.
Amazing.
The ball then got passed over to Shine at Seals.
Yeah, so at Seals we've also had lots of fun. So our seals are actually known to play with some of the coconuts that fall from our palm trees into the exhibit. So being exposed to a ball was nothing new to them, but we have a little seal. He's 6 years old. His name is SAAMBR. He decided to come down and play with Val, and his favorite game is to play soccer. So he started engaging, knocking it back and forth around, basically pushing it around with his nose. So he really had lots of fun with it. And because he started playing with it, it actually encouraged the rest of our seal family to come down and join him, which includes our youngest little seal. He's only 2 years old. He's just joined our colony. His name is Captain. And yeah, he came down. It was a very interesting thing for him because he hasn't had to play with a ball before. And it was quite cute to see him learn from SAAMBR. And they slowly started engaging together. So it's been quite a fun experience at Seals for all the seals to play around with Val.
That's amazing. It's amazing how they can pick up if, this is okay because the other one's playing with it. So I'm going to also investigate and sort of see what's going on and then get involved a little bit more. So that's really cool to see. I think what we need to do for our listeners is we're gonna put a photo of you guys on the cover of this podcast holding Val the ball so that everybody can understand what we're talking about. So that's going to be the plan.
Perfect.
Sure.
Excellent. Okay, and what's the next steps for Val? I mean, she's going to be in your facility. She's going to be moving around. I guess she's going to Penguins at some point.
She will be going at some point. I'm not too sure when, but I do know after she's done at Seals, we're actually going to be sending her off to the aquarium. So the aquarium's going to have some fun with her in all the exhibits with all the multitude of animals. So we're going to see that.
Yeah, and of course the plan is after the aquarium to also go spend some time upstairs at Dangerous Creatures with all the reptiles.
Amazing. Before we move from the aquarium to reptiles, have we made sure that Val can breathe underwater?
Well, she made it through the air, so I'm sure she'll make it in the deep.
Excellent. Just checking. We got to look after Val.
And at least Val floats.
That's true.
We do have Val's bigger brothers and sisters at the dolphinarium, so we do know that they are robust enough and they not going to drown. So that's a good thing.
Excellent. I'm glad you checked that before taking Val into the water.
She has passed her swim test.
Excellent. So, okay, from aquarium, we're going to dangerous creatures. That's going to be interesting with all the different reptiles and seeing how they respond to her. I suppose also you're going to end up with her having lots of, I mean, at the moment, she has lots of different smells on her, especially aircraft smells. So, yeah, there's a lot of things that Val's now going to be doing at your facility. So that's really, really exciting. And I wonder where she'll be off to next. But yeah, we look forward to seeing all the different places she gets to see at SeaWorld and uShaka and see where she moves around and what animals she gets to participate in enrichment with.
100%.
Yeah, I'm also very excited to see how all the animals respond to her and how creative they get with her.
I think it is also interesting for the trainers and the keepers in the different areas, because like with us, when you have more than one animal want to investigate something new, you see, as we learned in our workshop, the difference with the different interests and how curious or afraid they may be of something new. So it'll be nice to see that in the groups where we have different species and different animals all in one exhibit.
Definitely. 100%. Very exciting. And yeah, please, are you going to share the photos with Shape Africa? So I'm sure we'll get to see them and we'll post them on our socials so everybody gets to see the different animals interacting with Val. And hopefully everybody will be following her and seeing her where she heads to next. But it's been absolutely amazing having both of you on, and it's been great chatting, and we've had lots of laughs in and out of the podcast, and which is always great because I don't think we stopped laughing when we were at the workshop. And I think there were a lot of people like, do you three ever stop talking about work and laughing? So we've been down that road, and no, we don't stop talking about animals and the work that we do because we're passionate about it.
100%. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, so great having you guys on, and we're definitely going to have you back again. Maybe we'll have you back on again to report back on Val and how she did and where she's going next. So that'll be exciting to hear from you guys. So once again, thanks to both of you for joining Animal Talk podcast. It's been great having you on.
It's been amazing, Ryne.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Ryne, I do think though it is important to leave all the listeners with the amazing saying that Robin had left it and ended the workshop with us.
Go ahead.
That quote was, "Our endless efforts in the manner we apply animal welfare practices will always have a long-lasting impact on the lives of our animals in our care."
I love it. Awesome. And that pretty much brings us to the end of this episode. And thanks for sharing that with everyone. If you are interested in getting involved with the podcast or asking us any questions, or maybe you have some questions for the two guests, you can send us an email on animal.talk201@gmail.com, or you can get hold of us on our social media. We're on both Facebook and Instagram, and we're also on LinkedIn, and we have our YouTube channel. It's a great place to find our podcast. So if you jump onto the YouTube channel, please subscribe, and then you can click that bell, share, comment. It all helps making sure that our podcast goes out to a lot more people. If you are interested in being a member of SAAMBR, you can go on to SAAMBR's website, which is saaka.org.za. And you can click on there and go into the membership part and learn a little bit more about it and what it involves. And we'd also like to thank eRadio SA for having us on the radio, on the airways, on a Saturday at 10 a.m. So a big thank you to them for that. Once again, a big thank you to my two guests. Thank you so much for joining us. And like I always say, animals are our passion. Thanks very much, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you for having us. It's been a pleasure.
Well, basically, it started. When we breathed, okay, I saw the bubble move.
I was like, is she going to say something or not? Let's start from the very
There's no way to start the
beginning.
story, so I said, let's try and start.
Okay, pull yourselves towards yourselves now.
What?
Here we go.
One
Okay.
time.
We forgive you, and we've left you a little interesting thing to edit out now while you were gone.
We are, because I wasn't even listening. I had the headphones off and I muted my mic. So that's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Okay, where were we? You guys were chatting about.
Yes, Umi just ended her line. So it's back to you.
Okay, and I did hear the end of her line. So it's back to me. Okay, here we go.